Well. Hello again, my friends. EK, the writing elk here with yet another episode of the story. This is a good time, I think, to introduce you to one of my stories as published on Amazon Kindle. It's a story called Black Blood, Trace the Family Tree by E. Lloyd Kelly. Now, I have decided to include this in the Storytime series here as a giveaway of sorts. Therefore, expect to find regular weekly excerpts from this book included in between the series. So, here for you is an introduction to the Black Blood story. Enjoy. Black Blood, Trace the Family Tree by E. Lloyd Kelly. Introduction. Black Blood is a futuristic story depicting a close-up look at the life and times of a fictitious Jamaican police commissioner called Commissioner Watkins and his many encounters with the Count Lasco. Count Lasco is a transcontinental drug lord and a wannabe Jamaican kingpin. The world was on a comeback trail after the conflict had passed and the countries and the peoples that were affected by it were starting to reinvent themselves. While many of those nations' stars were still falling in the aftermath of the conflict, other nations' stars were rising at meteoric speed. One such fast-rising country at the time was the tiny island of Jamaica in the Caribbean regions. Commissioner Watkins, also known as Shaky Watkins, was the top cop of the Jamaica Constabulary Force then. He was nearing the end point of his illustrious career when a series of never-before-seen types of crimes started flaring up on the then rapidly developing Jamaican landscape. And the commissioner wanted nothing more than to crack the case before he demits office. Would he? One way to find out. Come along with me. There are lots of what you want to see, hear, and feel in this book. We spared none of the gory details. Lots of blood, thrills, spills, dark humor, and anecdotes. So, grab some comfort food, pull your feet up, get comfortable, and let's go back to the future again. Hashtag Back to the Future again. Note, Black Blood is a work of fiction. The names and the characters depicted in this story are fictitious and should not be construed as real or be associated with any person, living or dead. This is copyright protected work. All rights reserved. Chapter 1. Bloodline. The name is the link. There was blood everywhere. Sergeant Kennedy was tiptoeing across the pavement, trying his earnest best to avoid disturbing the scenes. He bent down and examined what turned out to be a spliff tail. "Rogers," he called out to the young corporal. "Bag it," he said. Corporal Vince Rogers, being new to the service, had only been on active duty for 5 days. However, he already felt as if he had seen enough blood and goriness to last him a lifetime. He fetched a receptacle from the kit and placed the saggy bit of would-be evidence inside, and then replaced the cap and set it aside. Vince by then was sick to his stomach and was beginning to question his career choice. All of a sudden, the pulpit seemed mighty appealing to him, and his mother seemed like the wisest woman who had ever lived. She had it all planned out. From the time he was a little boy, his mother wanted him, or maybe it was the Lord. As she always said in regards to this, it was the Lord who had called him to be a minister of the gospel. But Vince was quite sure that the Lord would have made a big mistake on that call. As for the role model whom she always pointed him towards in the person of the Reverend Richard Bulzer, if she was really serious about her son becoming a minister of the gospel, that would have been a mistake of titanic proportion on her part too, to be pointing her son towards the Reverend Mr. Richie Bulzer. Vince's thoughts about him were never very flattering, to say the least. He thought of the Rev as being nothing more than a lazy, artless, blood-sucking, piggybacking leech, one who preys on those silly women with low or no self-esteem. "I am not a sissy," he had said to his mother. "I will go out and get myself a real job and earn my keeps as real men do." So, instead of registering for Bible school as she had wanted him to, the police academy was to be the benefactor of Vince's coming of age and his search for adventure. If one should take a moment, though, to just examine the facts concerning people like the Reverend Mr. Bulzer, one may be well on the verge of a healthy dose of get-with-it reality broadside. Vince had argued on this wise. Sergeant Adam Kennedy and Fenton Fats Michaud were partners in the early days. They were really good friends too. But Fenton had died way before his time, and the sergeant had gotten himself a promising young constable, or so it seemed, as his working partner. Sergeant Michaud was a very funny man, among other things. He weighed in at over 320 pounds, but very fast was he, and as agile as a tomcat on steroids too. He will outrun Usain Bolt on the Sunday morning after a raving hot Saturday night party on the town. Fats was implicated in an earlier shooting incident where he was said to have used excessive force to bring down a shooting suspect, a man who was clearly running away from him at the time. Folks said that the only advantage the poor guy had on Fats was his size, and he used it to squeeze his way through tiny holes and crevices such as those the sergeant could not go through due to the fat facts, all in his getaway bid. "I've got something for you," said Fats, before he lit him up bright with a barrage of bullets, spewing his red blood. Well, so the story goes, but he wasn't going to lose that one, not again. Fats died at his desk, the official reports said, but we all do know very well where officials and their reports stand on the truth, as well as the trust and the confidence index in the mind of the common people. Folks said the goodly sergeant died while trying to climb up Mount Gallimore on a bunk bed at the office. It was to take two of their strongest young men to pry him off the frightened Galley Mountain. May he forever rest in peace, as he very well might. Meanwhile, Sadie danced. Silhouettes of dancing Sadie were floating down from the window and over the shoulders of investigators and curious onlookers alike. Her relationship with the deceased family needed to be examined. Commissioner Watkins thought to himself. He was going to do just that. That was for sure. The commissioner was the first to arrive on the scene after the call. He didn't stay very long though, just walked around the peripheries of the compound and assigned roles to the next in command. On his way out, he cast his eyes up at the third floor apartment and saw Sadie standing there in the window, bracing against her stretched out arms against the windowsill and looking down at the happenings. Commissioner Watkins paused just long enough to survey the settings before moving along, shaking his head in his usual shaky Watkins manner. Sergeant Kennedy and the team then went to work gathering evidence, crime scene analysis. These were what the forensic team was to find and get documented at the crime scene. 2 dead bodies, 1 bloody machete, a bloody kitchen knife, a wet and soggy spliff tail, and a trail of blood leading from the living room to the front lawn where one of the 2 bodies were found. A trail of blood was also leading out through the front door, down the steps and out onto the paved driveway where a second body was found, lying face down on the pavement, just beyond the cordoned off area. Curious onlookers and tight-lipped neighbors alike now stretching their necks to sneak a peek across the fence. Many among them were probably the same ones who did not even bother to respond to cries for help in the night. Now they are out seeking a thrill. All of that, plus a senior cop obviously perplexed beyond the norms at what he was seeing. Adding also those newspaper reports and theses which were to be coming in, and later on, Dancing Sadie was to be called in for some questionings, but then she was released. The deceased lifestyle also came in for scrutiny. The verdict was left hanging for the time being, at least. While Sergeant Kennedy was skimming through the various crime scenes all over town, the commissioner was thinking, planning, and strategizing. He was also there sharing anecdotes with his family back at home. He always does. He would then need to review all of the incidents in details in order to see if there were patterns. Any links or tie-ins that could connect one with the other would come in handy too. He would later find the connections, but there was yet more work to be done before that was to come about, and the clock was ticking the time away. That's it for today, my friends. Come, join us again next time and read, listen, and become a part of the movement. Be sure to subscribe too, and tell a friend about us, or even a foe. We can use him too, no? Thank you, my friends. Thank you for your time. I am EK, the Writing Elk, and I am out. Note, some images here may be by unknown authors and used on a fair use basis, as licensed under CC by Creative Commons at https://creativecommons.org. We lay no claim to these, nor to the music playing in the backgrounds with ease. I thank you.